Look at this, my $5,000 camera actually has a tough time focusing on the new iPad Pro on how thin it is. The new iPad Pro keeps pushing the boundaries of what the iPad Pro is and what the iPad Pro will become in the upcoming years. And even though this new iPad Pro is by no means perfect, there's a lot to get really excited about. That's why in this video, I wanted to tell you my experience on how it's been using the iPad Pro, the new Nano textured glass, the new design, the new display, the new mind-blowing M4 chip, its powerful yet confusing accessories, and yeah, ultimately what I love about it and what I don't like so much about it. Welcome to my review of the M4 iPad Pro. Now, yes, as many of you know, I got the incredible opportunity to interview John Turnus and Greg Joswiak, but friends call him Jaws, Senior Vice President of Hardware Engineering and Senior Vice President of Worldwide Marketing at Apple.
And then iPad Pro, the idea is to take not just features that we've never had on iPad Pro before, that no one's had on anything, right? Like the Ultra Retina XDR Display or an M4 chips, things that just weren't even possible before on any other device. And we bring that to make the very best iPad we ever could make with the Pro.
If you want to listen to the entire episode of Inside the Ecosystem, it's linked down below. Or if you want to support and you want to become a member and actually watch the episode in video, you can watch the podcast in Inside the Ecosystem Plus, and you also get exclusive access to tons of new products. Anyways, links in the description if you want to join. So Apple calls the new iPad Pro impossibly thin, and it truly feels impossibly thin. The 11-inch is 5.3 millimeters thin, but the mind-blowing part is the 13-inch coming at only 5.1 millimeters thin. The mind-blowing part about this design is that it feels thinner, it feels impossibly thin, but it feels so much more durable. It's lighter and more portable, which is incredible for portability, especially the 11-inch. The display also gets massive improvements since we now get the Ultra Retina XDR display, and that is exactly the reason that the iPad Pro actually got thinner. Because Apple actually made the display OLED, but a different type of OLED. It's now tandem OLED, which basically makes you have the best experience you're ever gonna get on an iPad. We get stunning highlights, true blacks, and details in the shadows like you've never seen before. Watching an HDR movie, a 4K movie on this iPad Pro will blow your mind. It looks so good. It also now reaches a peak brightness of 1,600 nits of brightness. So if you're someone that does work a lot outdoors, this will be great for you. The heart of this new iPad Pro is the M4 chip. Now, while this has actually brought tons of debate because yes, the iPad Pro still needs tons more Pro features and a better workflow on the iPad to truly take advantage of such powerful devices. And Apple, if you actually go on Apple's website, it actually says powerful AI capability. I'm a true believer that this iPad Pro will totally change after WWDC. I even asked Joss about it. I mean, without him getting fired, but yeah, I did ask him.
You mentioned AI. We've been doing AI and ML for years and years in our products. Actually, I like to tell people we were doing them before we called them AI and ML. We were doing what we used to call them proactive features, right? Because we were using machines.
AI is the cool thing to say.
Yeah. And everybody's now latched onto this. And certainly there's a new emergence of generative AI, right? And certainly Tim Cook has talked about the fact that you'll hear more about our plans there in the maybe the not so distant future.
That's why I'm asking.
Yeah, so I'll tell you, come visit me in the not so distant future.
Okay.
Yeah.
The cameras on this new iPad Pro camera. Apple, without nobody noticing, Apple got rid of the secondary camera. There's only one iPad camera now. So on last year's model, we had two. On this year's model, we have one. And guess what? A lot of people are like, hey, I don't really care about it. Nobody really used the ultra wide camera. I did. You know why? Because actually scanning documents, you could literally scan a document like this. Now you have to scan a document from a higher height. I know, it's fine. It's not the end of the world, but I'm kind of sad. I actually did use the ultra-wide camera on the iPad Pro from last year. I mean, it is what it is. I'm not going to sit here and cry about it, but am I the only one that actually used this? Maybe I am. Let me know in the comments if you actually used it. So now what's in here is the camera, the LiDAR scanner, the microphone, and now a new True Tone flash, which brings AI capabilities for scanning documents. And let me tell you, it's literally like you have a scanner on this device. It's crazy the way that it works. It basically enhances the document scanning, and it actually portrays a bunch of different lights in the actual scan. Long story short, whenever you scan a document, it will literally feel like you grabbed the paper and you scanned it and brought it back. all in this thin, impossibly thin device. Okay, let's talk about the elephant in the room, the new nano texture glass. It's a type of glass that we've previously seen in the XDR Display monitor, for example, but it's the first time that Apple has actually added this type of display in a glass that we actually touch with our fingers. Now, I've got a lot of thoughts with the nano texture display. My experience with it is that you really have to want it in order to get it. Let me explain. Now, first, let's talk about what's so great about it, right? It avoids reflections really well. I actually used the iPad Pro with the nano texture glass on the airplane, and it was extremely sunny, and I was actually looking at the person sitting right next to me, and he had like so many reflections, and he actually kept like moving his tablet because, you know, that's what we do, right? And I was just sitting there with my iPad Pro with tons of sun, and there was like barely any reflection, which was a really good thing about it. Another thing that I love about it is how it feels while writing on your Apple Pencil. It's not as good, it's not as obvious as like a matte screen protector, as a paper-like screen protector. It is more frictiony, which makes it really satisfying, and it doesn't feel like paper, but it kind of feels like paper. The downside of it, it's basically like having a matte screen protector, which makes you not have the best OLED experience. The blacks, for example, aren't truly black, and it kind of, you know, Apple has added like amazing quality in the display, but you're kind of, when I mean kind of, it's like it's still an incredible display, but it kind of ruins the experience. On how good the display is, you're kind of ruining the experience. And the second thing that I don't like about it is how dirty it gets. Apple even includes this polishing cloth in the actual box because Apple says this is the only polishing cloth that you should be using while cleaning this glass. We also get a brand new Magic Keyboard, which is probably one of my favorite things about this new iPad. Now, this new Magic Keyboard is only compatible with this specific iPad Pro, and it's got this new stunning metal finish that feels like a matte. It's just very robust. It feels very good quality. We finally get a function row, so you can actually turn up and turn down the volume. You've got media controls, you've got brightness controls, and finally, come here, finally, an escape key. With the new iPad Pro, Apple also launched the new Apple Pencil Pro, and it brings tons of new features that I've actually been using a lot in my experience while using the new iPad Pro. First off, you finally have Find My support, which is so useful because if you're like me and you travel a lot and you move a lot, I've lost so many Apple Pencils in my life. And now if you leave it under a bench, your iPad will notify you, hey, you left your Apple Pencil behind. You also have this new barrel roll feature, so if you actually twist the Apple Pencil, it will feel like that when you're actually drawing. It's great for people who draw and even write because it feels more like a pencil. And hey, the new squeeze gesture is just so good. You can now squeeze your Apple Pencil in Apple Notes, for example, and your palette of tools will open up. And there's tons of apps that are actually compatible with this, and you can even customize the squeeze gesture inside of settings. And what's so powerful about this is that it's actually compatible with shortcuts. So you can squeeze your Apple Pencil Pro and literally turn off the lights of your home. I made an entire video about the Apple Pencil Pro. If you want to watch it, links to down below in the description. But yeah, the new accessories are amazing. Apple has also bumped up the starting base storage on the iPad Pro. It now starts at 256 gigabytes, which is incredible because last year we were paying so much for the iPad for 128 gigs. It now starts at 258, which is, Timmy, thank you. And yeah, this new iPad Pro is more powerful than ever. It's more beautiful than ever, more accessories than ever. Everything is more than ever. It's impossibly thin. What could go wrong, right? But the iPad Pro keeps having the same problem year after year. And it feels like Apple is leading us into something. But we've been waiting for that something with the M1 iPad Pro. Every single year we've been waiting for that moment to come, and Apple finally launched Final Cut Pro. But you still can't import projects from the Mac to the iPad, and this Final Cut Pro is kind of limited if you want to do pro workflows. Year after year, it hurts me so much to say it, but the problem with the iPad Pro is not with the iPad Pro. It's with iPad OS. The file management that the Mac has is something that the iPad still hasn't gotten right. And the reason why we're so demanding with the iPad Pro is not because we're just trying to diss on this incredible product. It's because it's expensive. And when a product is so expensive, consumers demand a lot. To the point, when you buy an iPad Pro with its accessories, with a keyboard and with a pencil, it's more expensive than a MacBook Air. And that territory is very delicate. So Tim, John, Jaws, I'll be watching this WWDC to see what you do with this M4 iPad Pro. If you want to watch my interview with Jaws and John, you can watch it right here in Inside the Ecosystem Plus, or Apple also launched the iPad Air and you can watch my review right here. Or if you don't want to do anything of that, you know what you could do? You could hit subscribe. Okay, that's my review of the M4 iPad Pro.